toughest part of training?
In the academies is scientifically designed that you will reach those physical standards by the time you're ready to pass out.
Cleared SSB, your mental strength is tested.
To cook a great meal, you have to have the best ingredients.
Ragging in academy.
There is no ragging in NDA.
Ever regret joining the army?
Absolutely not. That's where the mental mobility comes in. You need not die to kill the enemy. You need the enemy to die for his country.
Has army given you and your family?
Give me a family. The army is my family, right?
That's
When we talk about evolutions, the liquid that we use is kerosene. This is my promise that as many are going, I will get that many. The toughest of the toughest, 3rd 11 Gorkha Rifles. Do you think these people would have had to continue to guard the borders of Mother? How much will you take to stand on guard when your family is dying down back there?
Colonel Pankaj Bhagwati is an NDA alumnus with 24 years of distinguished service in the Indian Army. Commissioned into the Gorkha Rifles, he fought in the Kargil War and Operation Parakram and led counter-terror operations in Kashmir and Northeast. A combat aviator for 8 years, he flew daring rescue missions and served at UN during the 2006 Israel-Hezbollah war. He commanded his battalion in Kargil, spearheading award-winning operations across the line of control and went on to shape Army cyber and information warfare. After serving as instructor at the Army War College and director of the Army's War Game Center, he retired in 2021 and is now based in Bangalore. Before we dive back in, I want to pause for just a moment. This is my very first podcast, and right now, we are a very small community of just 130 subscribers. If you find value here, the simplest and the most powerful way you can encourage me is by subscribing. That single click tells me you want more of this, and it fuels me to keep bringing you stories that matter. So if you haven't yet, kindly hit subscribe. It would mean the world to me. So Pankaj, why army?
I was born in the army. My father was in 11 Gorkha Rifles, and I was born in Tenga Valley in Arunachal Pradesh. Ever since I have opened my eyes, I have been in the army. The cantonments, the lifestyle, the way people are, how they are totally committed towards the service, that selfless service to the nation. Everybody was a larger-than-life image right from the beginning. And right from my childhood, this impression had stuck in, or that I have to, and I want to be a part of the uniformed forces of India. So for me, it was not a question as why the army. For me, the question was like, if not the army, what else? But I don't think anything other than service stood in my goals towards how I want to take my life. So it was always the army for me. There's nothing else, and I'm so glad because I took that decision. Whatever I am is because of the army. It's what has molded me. It's what has shaped me. It's what has helped me remain focused throughout my life. I owe everything to the army. That's what it is. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, indeed. Tell me, your journey to join the army began from NDA.
Yeah.
So, what was that about, and what do you think is the toughest part of training?
Right. So let me break this into two parts. Like I told you for your earlier question, for me it was never a question of what else to do. The earliest that one could get into the army was through NDA. This thought had already percolated my consciousness, and I wanted to get through NDA. But it is a very tough exam. Let's be very open. Let's be clear with that, because it's amongst the toughest in the world, not in terms of the difficulty probability, but because of the number of places where you can get eliminated. Your first thing, of course, is your written exam. Thereafter, so of the multitudes of people, hundreds and thousands of people who write it, there are only a few, about 1,000 plus during our time, who used to get selected for the interview. So, making that cut itself stood less than 0.5%. Thereafter, in the interview also, there's a very, very high rejection rate. Or I would say, let's put it positively, there's a very low selection rate. So that was the thing. I had to prepare myself. So I started my preparation when I was still doing my class 12th. Concurrently with my studies in the 12th, I was also preparing for NDA. At those times, we did not have any open source platforms. Internet had, it had just started making its incipient roots into India. So I relied on the books that were available of the bookshelves and the public libraries, the Combined Defense Services books, and books that were designed for NDA. I don't remember who had written them right now, because many, many years have passed by. So I read on those books. And for other subjects like current affairs and all, there was just one way through. There was a competition success review. It was a weekly magazine that used to come out, and we had the newspapers. So when you read a news, you try to make notes. The absolute traditional way. No chat GPT, nothing at that time that condenses the answers, summarizes them, and makes it easy to learn. But during our time, it was absolutely the traditional way, and that was a good way, because it's not just the focused knowledge that you get, but what is important is the peripheral knowledge that that gives you the entire contextual ideas why something is happening. So that period, about the time when I was preparing for my 12th, and thereafter my preparation for NDA concurrently, that was about a year. Of course, the interview process, I think that's a different question that you'd have to ask. With regards to how tough the training is, we must understand that training in the academies to make you a military leader is not just about physicals. Physicals is there, but the span of training in the academies is scientifically designed that you will reach those physical standards by the time you're ready to pass out. Most important is your ability or your mental capacity, what we call as mental mobility. You need to be always thinking on the ball. You need to always, be able to take spot decisions, because that's what happens in a battle. Those abilities actually are assessed in you when you go through for your interview. So they want to check whether you are really fast in the uptake. How fast are you at grasping concepts? How fast are you in adapting to a particular situation? And how quickly are you able to get on top of the situation so that you can take control of it? In the academies, your training revolves around three things. The first is the academic subjects. In NDA, it is about the graduation. There are both the art streams and the science streams, but you have to study both of them. You can major in one. The second part is with regards to your service subject. So you must understand that the military in itself it's a vast subject. So we have to study the military subjects also. And the third part is your the third part is your physical part. Now, all these three together is what it's the curriculum is condensed, or it's made in a manner, structured in a manner that all these three things are taken care of. As also the holistic development, there are debates. There is, you got to learn foreign languages. You have to take an interest in certain hobbies. You would be a part of certain clubs, like maybe the aero modeling club or the dramatics club. So. And you can change your clubs every six months, every semester. Basically, what I try to bring out here is that they ensure the holistic development of an individual so that they are in a capacity to lead people.
Okay. Pankaj, so will I be right if I say that if you cleared SSB, your mental strength is tested? And therefore, because of that, no matter how tough the training is in the academy, you would be able to endure it, because one is that the academy is meant to ensure that you pass out as a successful cadet. Will I be right in saying so?
Absolutely. So we must understand. Let me give you an analogy of cooking a great meal. If you have to cook a great meal, you have to have the best ingredients. They should be organic, grown in the right manner. So once you know that this is a good ingredient, and then comes the process of your cooking so that you give a great dish. It's the same way in terms of, it's not reductive, but I just want to bring out that at the stage of the SSB, they want to see whether you have the aptitude, something that I was just talking about in the last question that I was answering, that how fast are you in your adaptation skills, how do you react to situations. They assess you to understand whether do you have the potential for that. And once they have got the candidate, now that candidate is not ready for battle, or he's not ready for, thereafter they've got to to cook him or prepare him or her. Nowadays we have got girls and ladies in NDA also. Earlier it was predominantly it was a completely men oriented bastion. Now it is women also are there. So they want to, once they have selected the right ingredients, then comes the process of training. The training is, the physical part is not simple, but it's designed in a manner that you go through it. And so it's not that, they are looking to eliminate a person. They have selected you, they want to pass you out. Only if there is, some major hassle somewhere, maybe then there is a call that is taken. But otherwise, I would say 9 out of 10 people will pass out successfully out of NDA.
That's a big relief, Pankaj, especially for the parents and also for the aspirants. That's a big relief. There's one question I am often asked, Pankaj, if you can help us understand this. Is there ragging in academy? And if at all you call it something else, then is there, can a senior hurt a junior? Or can an instructor hurt a junior physically? Okay. Does that happen? So if you can just help us understand this.
So this is a slightly difficult question to tackle, not because whether there's ragging or not. There is no ragging in NDA. But
it's
why?
Toughening?
Let me put it in this manner. Compare, because everybody draws a corollary with what is there in the civil side, right? In the civil, you have a college, you've got a medical college, you may have a normal university where the focus is only about studies. It's the mental development. Also, there are debates and dramatics and that sort. But there is no physical toughening. In the colleges or the universities, you believe in having sports and stuff. But here we are not making a person to run the Olympics. We are not making a person or not molding an individual to just excel in academics. You want a person who can stand the rigors of war. And battle is not easy. Battle is extremely, extremely tough. And you are walking towards, into things that can potentially take your life. So what kind of a mental makeup that individual needs to have? So the process in NDA is that you are divided into terms. So like we have a semester, which is of 6 months. It's called a term. A term is equal to a semester. So you have the NDAs of 3 years. So you have 6 semesters or 6 terms. First term, second term, third term, right until the 6th term, after which you pass out. Every termer who's senior to you is a person who can give you an order. So it's not that you're obligated to follow it, but it's not like a military order that it's, you have to do it. But it is structured in a manner so that everybody gets the semblance of how to give orders and, command people below them. Because once you get out of the academies, then you're going to lead men on the battlefront. So it is structured in that manner. And as a junior, you will listen to what they say. Let me give an example. So the example that I could give you is that there is a boxing bout, and you are told that you have to be within this weight category. You may be a lightweight, bantamweight, medium weight, heavyweight, whatever. You have to stick to that category, and you got to physically toughen yourself. Now the seniors, if I'm a junior, will ensure that I'm able to run those 10, 15 kilometers, do those, the punching, strengthen my abdomen, strengthen my shoulders and things of that sort. So, and they push you. There is no manhandling. It's not supposed to be there. There is no manhandling. But then it is like you cannot not take an order. Let's say, example, the senior says that we will do 400 sit-ups. So you have to do it. Of course, you will struggle. And they will say, come on, let's go. So they push you so that you do 400. So what happens after 400 sit-ups is suddenly in your mind, you understand that it is possible. I never knew I could do 400 sit-ups. Now I can. So you just crossed the threshold. So this is a process in which it happens. Let's say we have got a cross-country run. Now the seniors, the sixth termers, they will entrust the fifth termers that, you take care of the first and second and third termers. We will take care of the fourth termers. So that our cross-country team is better than the other squadrons. It's a competition, right? So they will, the sixth termers and they will tell the fourth termers, then go out for the cross-country run. There'll be physical strengthening. We'll find out where are the weak spots, who needs what kind of change. And people are pushed towards doing this. I don't know whether you can call this ragging, but it's not ragging. If you see it, this is what happens when a coach tells a sports person what to do, right, and how to do it. So that is the relation that we have in NDA. There are physical toughenings also, like there are camps in which you've got to go for long route marches. So most of the curriculum, which is other than the academics and the structured ones like the parade or the drill that we call, or the club. So there is an official timing, and then there is a timing which is left to the cadets, where they can do things that are, for the squadron, competitions, various kinds of different programs. So that structuring is left to the cadets, and that's what they do. So the seniors, juniors, everybody, they design their own curriculum. They design what they need to do, that we are going to stress on this particular sport first, so let's handle this first. That is what happens in NDA. Also, in order to help certain people who are weak in certain things. Let's say somebody is weak in vaulting the horse in the physical training, which is a test. So if they are unable to do it, we identify those people. The seniors will identify those people, and in the evening they say, hey, for these guys, let's have just the vaulting horse practice. So they will take. Let's say there's a person who's not able to vault the horse because that person has not been able to get the weight in order. What do you do? So the seniors may say, iska khana thoda kam karo, let's not let that person reduce on the butter quotient or something, in case there is hardly a chance if somebody is overweight. But I'm just giving an example because this happens in boxing. If you have to stick to your weight, you are reducing when your body is absolutely in its lean mass. So then in order to reduce, then we have to prescribe certain dietary deficits so that you are able to reach that weight. This is how it is structured in India.
That's a big relief, Pankaj. So if I have to sum it, Academy is a place where they teach you how to mentor and also how to get mentored, and obeisance, which is the hallmark of defense services.
Absolutely.
And all of this, once a cadet undergoes all of it, they come out as a more rounded and well-defined person.
Yes.
So all those who are watching is should not worry if you've been selected. Your determination has been gauged, and then people in the academy are there to ensure that you successfully pass out.
Absolutely. So, because in the army, you may be coming out as an officer, but it's not that you are always passing orders, you're getting orders from above also. So, not only do you need to know how to give the right order, which is practical, implementable on ground, is the best order to meet that mission, but also need to learn how to take orders. Once And it's not that, it's a simple thing, Jaki ye karo, wo karo. Those orders are complicated. Like, for example, you need to do this mission. Now, there's so many planning parameters, so many things within that mission. So, understanding what is required of you, how to thereafter plan, and then ensure that the team that you have is able to reach that mission is what we do in NDA. That's what is taught in NDA. It's not taught, it is imbibed, I would say. That's how it goes.
And also the interesting thing about your career, Pankaj, is you have been an aviator as well for 8 years. And in aviation, there are certain protocol which has to be followed to the T. If one is violated, it can be lethal. So also in army. So one thing which you learn in academy and the different orders which you follow, it somewhere teaches you how to be meticulous, which is required later in your career. To be meticulous and to do what is being told, because it has been tested, time tested. And if you follow it, what happens is you become successful.
Yes. I will just like to add here, Julie, because we know this. There is a big fallacy in the world outside that, soldiering is a very simple duty. It is just not that way. Generally, when we say that it is not, it's not a simplistic thing, it's because people think that, what is there to do? The guy picks up a gun and he goes, and in case he sees an enemy, he fires. Let me tell you that the oldest profession of humanity is soldiering. And it has developed for thousands and thousands of years. It's a science. It is an extremely difficult science. And why I want to tell you is, it takes about 6 to 7 years minimum to make a good soldier. You come out of NDA or IMA, it's not that you're good to go. No. Thereafter, there are advanced trainings. It takes at least 6 to 7 to 8 years to get a good soldier. You know this, Julie, that because you are from the flying wing, the flying part of the defense, the Air Force. How long does it take to, get a pilot ready? It takes so many years for that pilot to be, so that he could be launched into battle. Because it's a matter of the security of the country. You cannot send a half-baked person over there, because he's going to be up with the best that country can offer, the other country with whom we've got to fight. So nothing is half-baked at all. And to reach that stage, it takes a long time. And whatever we are saying, very few places or very, very few professions are like such, where you continue to always study. So this armed forces is not a profession of just the physicality. There is an extremely high levels of knowledge that you need to imbibe in all spheres, whether we talk about the STEM subjects, or we talk about, human relations, or we talk about international relations, everything you need to know. So in case you want to become an individual who is really rounded, who can stand his ground in any kind of discussion, ranging from dramatics to, science and technology, to, what the human body is made up of, and how about biology, zoology, you will be able to do that, because once an officer or once into the defense services, you will learn about everything.
Tell me about your first posting. How was your experience? And did you ever regret joining the army?
My first posting, I don't know which part to tell you actually, because let me give you a funny one, okay? But I will take your second question first. Whether I have any regrets in joining the army? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think I was really fortunate that, my mental neurons were working, that it pushed me towards the army. I cannot fathom a life where I would not have been a soldier, because I would have seen myself not as accomplished personally and spiritually as I am now today if I was not a soldier. I don't think I would have, I don't say that I have got great wisdom, but I think I have seen the world in its many forms, I've seen the world at its best. I've seen the world at its rawest, where it is absolutely deprived of all kinds of rules and laws. So you get to see everything. So I will say that this life of mine has been fortunate because I joined the army, and I have been a soldier. Now coming on to your first question, let me recant a very funny episode. So I was all charged up to join my regiment. It was in a place called Shah Jahanpur. This is not a very well-known place in Uttar Pradesh. That was where our peace location was. There is an ordnance factory. I don't know whether it's still functioning. It's called Ordnance Factory Shahjahanpur, which used to make clothes. Some of our combat uniforms and all earlier used to come from Shahjahanpur. So we had a brigade over there, and I was to join that place. I had thought that when you pass out of the academy after IMA, the last step that you take is called Antim Pag. So Antim Pag means this is the last step, but I will say that's the first step. So in my consciousness is that I have become an officer. Now it's all gung-ho. And imagine the shock that I get, I reached Shahjahanpur, so a small party had come to pick me up. And I thought now, there would be a staff car coming and, somebody opening the door for me, me sitting in, and they say, Jahan Sahab, aap aa gaye hain, chaliye daftar ki taraf. So there was a party to receive me. And there was a waiter standing with a tray in the railway station. And I was like, and everybody is like looking, who's this character, And then said, PJ Sahab. So I took the cup. It wasn't tea. It was rum. And I had that. And they said, chai samajh ke pijiyega. So, and I had it. And they made me finish a bottle. And I had not had drinks earlier. So you can imagine what happened. And thereafter, they handed me over a weapon, a light machine gun, and told me to run to the unit. It was in the middle, I think it was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Blazing sun, the heat of Uttar Pradesh.
My God.
And no, sorry, it was not, my apologies, it was not the summer, it was winter. So I had, worn my green jersey and my uniform, and I took that, and these guys, they went off in the jeep, and I ran those 10, 12 kilometers to reach the battalion. That was it was like, and then when I reached there, they're like, all the thing that I thought that I was being, given a soldier's welcome as an officer, everything went down the drain because
So they crush your ego.
No. So there's a reason for all this. Firstly, I'll also answer this question. Like people think in army it is mandatory to drink. Absolutely not. My father himself was a teetotaler, never had drinks.
Okay.
But sometimes like in this episode, I will say, they wanted to test what is my capacity to, even under severe intoxication of liquor. And there is nothing ki order follow nahi kiya. Piya to piya. Daudne ko bola to dauda. So your mind is absolutely clear. Tomorrow when you're going to war, you cannot be thinking about various things. When an order is given, we need to do it. You need to shut your mind and focus on the mission and do it. Do you have that mental strength to do it? Liquor is a kind of a training aid for that, I will say. So even if you have had that liquor, it remains in your stomach. It doesn't. We know how to block it before it hits our brain. And it's a kind of a training that we do. So that is how liquor in this part was being tested. And what was the reason for this? Because when you join a new regiment, a new battalion, as a new officer, you are not allowed to wear the ranks. At least in my unit, it's like such that for about a month or two, you stay with the troops. You stay in their lines, you stay amongst them, and you graduate. So you join as a young soldier. Thereafter, you do the duties of a young soldier initially. You may even be doing, like weapon cleaning, shramdhan, cleaning, sweeping a particular place, keeping that clean. doing night patrols, going around the places at night, giving guard at the quarter guard and all that stuff. So you do the entire rungs of duty. So the first week you're a soldier, the second week you're a corporal, the third week you're a sergeant, the fourth week. So it goes like this. Once you have done with that, then then you're called over to the officers' mess. Okay. And then you're given an officer's accommodation. So first 1 to 2 months spent with the troops. That is how you get that connect with them. You understand them, you breathe them, you live with them, you do everything with them. Then, and they see you also in the same way. And that's how that connect between the officers and men is ensured.
So, as an officer, you are a leader and you have to be an example at all time. So that brings me to the next question, Pankaj. I received a very interesting DM from a mother.
Okay.
And she, with her earnestness and concern, really moved me. And I made a reel on that. She was saying that her son wants to join the army, but she thinks it's very risky. And she has suggested that he should join Navy because it's much safer. To that, I responded that through a reel, I responded that if he's passionate about army, he'll always have that regret because of your suggesting he join the Navy. So let him go. And life, there is no guarantee about it. What is your take on this?
These are very these questions keep coming up. When I speak to somebody else also in the civil domain, they say, "Oh, you guys, there's so much of risk of life in the defense forces." And let me throw a different spin to it. Let me try to answer it in a different manner, right? So one of the lines that I always used to think about, and it had really stuck to me, and it was like a motivational part that kept me to my aim that I wanted to join the army, was the statement that how better can a man die for than for the ashes of his fathers in the temples of his gods.
What a powerful quote!
Yeah, it's a phenomenal quote. I do not really recollect who is the person who wrote it, but it's an amazing quote. But I read it as, how better can a man live for than for the ashes of his fathers in the temples of his God. So, just a little twist to it, rather than die, live. I joined the army joined NDA in 93 and thereafter got commissioned in 97. Within the first year, I was into counter-insurgency, counter-terror operations. Thereafter, I had the opportunity to fight the Kargil War. Then I got posted to the Northeast, where I was into the Northeastern militancy, where we were fighting against the NSCN. I was posted in Nagaland at that time. Then there was Ulfa at that time, because those were quite active organizations at that time, not as they are now, because things have completely changed quite a bit. Thereafter, I went into flying. Then I was also, took part in the Operation Parakram after the Parliament attacks. Then I was, so there were many, many places. Like I commanded my battalion in Kargil, and I did not die, right? I'm still alive. And if you say regret, so maybe I'll have one regret, Julie, is that I wish I could have died in battle, but now I'm going to die on my hospital bed or maybe at my home. So that's not the right way to die, I feel. Yet, whether it's the Army, Air Force or Navy, it doesn't matter, because all three services are equally important and they're doing their service to the nation. It's a service, So I will tell this brave mother that it doesn't mean that if you join the armed forces, you die. No. I told you sometime back that it's a science, and that science is that we should defeat the enemy having the least losses to ourselves. And having had a little bit of experience in, going through all kinds of operations and facing many different types of situations, I know for certain that there is always a bandwidth in which you plan, in which you can prevent detriment to life as far as possible. That's where the brain comes in. That's where the mental mobility comes in. You need not die to kill the enemy. You need the enemy to die for his country, not for us. So I would say now that I'm in the civil street and I've been working the civil for so long, for about 4 years plus, I think I'm more scared going out driving on the roads here that I may die any time, rather than I was when I was serving in the military. That's what I'd like to say to this mother.
Thank you so much, Pankaj. Another thing, what has Army given you and your family, which you think now that you're working in corporate, what do you think no corporate job can offer, which Army has given both you and your family?
When you were asking this question, I was actually thinking, what do I say? But then it just flashed in my mind. Army gave me a family. The Army is my family, right?
That's incredible.
Whether it's corporate, whether it's anywhere, the level of camaraderie is... it's to be experienced, to be believed, actually. Let me give an example. I told you I was in Nagaland, so there was this place, I'd gone to Kohima on some work, and there were no accommodations available, Julie. So I was just, searching where can I stay put, because there was some festival going on, so all the guest rooms and hotels were all booked. At that time, we couldn't stay in hotels, so we had to look for a guest room. And then, I had gone to an office, and the officer over there, he asked me, Pankaj, where are you staying? I said, sir, abhi I have not got a place to stay. Kate, I know the guest rooms are all booked. I said, could you stay with me? I said, I have never met this individual. This conversation that I'm having with him, of all of that 5 minutes, is the only time he's first seen me. He says that my wife and me share a room. Dusra room khali hai. Tu aaja, tu wahin reh le. And I said, okay. And I stayed with him for a week. I never seen this individual. Where does it happen that you just don't know an individual and you stay with them? Absolutely. Where does it happen? Which place? Nowhere. And it's not just me. Let's say my daughter goes to some place and she's in trouble. She just has to reach out to somebody saying that she's a veteran's daughter, a person in the military. That's it. She's taken care of.
So
I don't even have to think.
Incredible bonhomie which you get while in service and after service is something unparalleled.
It's not there anywhere. Anywhere. I can put it in writing.
Okay. Also, tell me something. Which was your toughest operation in Army, and how did you manage it? And another thing, what is that you learned from that operation?
See, there were many operations, and they were all tough in different manners. In certain places, because the missions were different in different places. So, one of the toughest, and yet one of the let me say that there were operations which I had to lead myself. So they were tough from the because I was into counter-terror operations. So it's difficult, but then I was managing only a small group of people because we were doing surgical operations and things of those sort. Operations during Kargil were difficult because there was an element, because it was war. You could, war is the next level of violence. It's not like low intensity conflict or counter-terror operations. Counter-terror operations are dangerous, but war is the next level. That cannot be, there's no parallel to it. It's quite high. But then of the most satisfying operations or mission, I would say, is when I was commanding my battalion in Kargil. I had 1,000+ troops under me, and we were to be deployed on the line of control with many cut-off posts. And it was an active line of control because they're shelling every now and then. The biggest enemies are two. Of course, the one that is across the border in the physical form, because he's out there to cause us harm. And the second is the weather. You see, you are staying in altitudes which are above 18,000 feet. The human body is not designed for that. And yet you've got to maintain your operational efficiency. There is no supporting, supporting stuff. Let me tell you, give an example, just how difficult it is to live there. So we don't have water to drink. There is no ice because it's all rock. The temperatures are way below 20, 30 degrees below zero. The little bit of water that is collected is used only for, a little bit of cooking of food. When we talk about ablutions, the liquid that we use is kerosene.
Oh my God.
So because that is the only thing that is non-frozen. So people use kerosene to clean themselves. And that kerosene is reused to cook the food, because that's how life is. Imagine living in that for 2 to 3 years. That's the thing. Life is extremely at danger there, because the climate can kill you, enemy action can kill you. Movement can kill you. There are avalanches, there are stones that fall from top of the mountains. If we can show 1 or 2 photographs during this clip, Julie, we could show
Certainly.
one of these places. I had made a promise to my unit when I was taking them from Lucknow to Kargil. In front of, we had a Bada Khana to see Bada Khana is like the entire families and everybody is invited to a big ground, and we've got, food and some games and all that
Cultural
stuff.
activities.
Yeah, cultural activities. So it was a Bada Khana to see of the battalion, because we're going into Kargil. And at that time, I took an oath in front of all the wives of and the families of my men. I told them that this is my promise, that as many are going, I will get that many back.
Oof,
So it was like, I'm still like struggling to hold back my tears, because at that time, I said this because I wanted the families to rest easy. It was an extremely challenging job to do. A few times I almost deterred. Means I was almost unsuccessful, but God was kind. We got all of them back. Everybody, we didn't lose a single life. Imagine, you see, 2 years completely gives you a lot of fatigue. Your body loses mass, your body loses muscle structure, because you're located at 18,000 feet. The only thing that you've got, the post is about 1/4 the size of this room. That you're living there for, and you're keeping guard for so many months altogether. There is no leave, there's nothing. If something happens, if something goes wrong to you, let's say you've got a pain in your stomach or something, which could be an appendicitis or a burst appendix, you can't be evacuated. You will die there. And your body will only come down when, in the summers, the snows melt and the path opens, and then we are able to move the body down. There have been places where people have died and they've stayed with the body for months. I did not want that in my unit. And thankfully, God was kind, and our drills were good. I was rough on my men because I wanted them to ensure certain drills. Do we have time for a small example? I'll give you a very small example. So like I said that, you wash your appendages or yourself with kerosene. Going for the morning duty, just going to the bathroom is a big thing, because at minus 18 degrees Celsius, your stool firstly doesn't form properly, and the stool of all the people who have served in that post before you for the last 50 years is still there.
This unimaginable.
Yes, it still lies like that because it is frozen solid. Right.
It doesn't decompose.
It doesn't decompose, and it's just lying there. It decomposes when the sun comes up. In the summer months, it decomposes, and it is like you are in a horrible place that you're staying because it stinks. But in 2 or 3 months is not enough to decompose the volume of excrement that is there. Now, when you do it, so the other thing is that you're only consuming the tinned food. It has very little roughage, so stool formation is not proper. When stool formation is not proper, then you push the stool out, and then again when you can't expose yourself to the climate outside because it starts freezing, so you'll get cold injuries, chilblains and frostbite on your backside. So you've got very little time. So people try to push out the stool, which leads to rupture, and it causes something called fistula. And because you're washing yourself over those places also with kerosene, it further it doesn't do good to you. So it leads to fistulas forming, and one of the major causes for evacuations and all is this, the fistula. A simple thing of going for the morning motion. So we had made it a practice in a battalion. I used to take a personal report from every post commander that every soldier has been fed at least 2 spoons of isabgol. I'm just saying the drills, So they had to eat that isabgol at night so that they have some roughage in their stomach and the stools don't cause fistula, which at a later stage can cause a danger to their life. I'm just telling a very, very small thing. Like this, there are thousands and thousands of small things which we had to, take care of. We had to ensure that they are well supplied and stocked even when there was shelling going on. So the enormity of the task that was there, when I told that I'm going to get everybody back alive, it was the most difficult task I think I did. And thanks to my officers, my JCOs and my men, the toughest of the toughest, 3rd 11 Gorkha Rifles, they pulled it off. We achieved the most amazing things over there. There was the DRDO also, they wanted to do they wanted to give us an award about the types of innovations that we had done. We had found out ways to harness water even at those altitudes using simple means. We made super high altitude helipads using just prehistoric means of water and ice. A lot of things we were able to do. Most of these things, did not come out into the open because it's not our thing to, show ourselves off. We were happy that we were able to take care of ourselves, and all our men came back hale and hearty.
What a powerful story, Pankaj. I think all those who are listening to us would be moved. I myself have got goosebumps. I can't stop but thank you for the incredible service which you have given. These leadership lessons and the things which you have imbibed to put yourself ahead of everyone else in terms of sacrifice and living by example. These are lessons you have lived by. These
Absolutely.
Every day you have lived by. And when in India we have had some stray incidents, and those which have been reported, there could be many more which weren't reported, which haven't been reported, about civilians ill-treating defense personnel in uniform, whether it comes to, whether the recent one was in the airport, and there was a lot of controversy around that. And my heart really cries, if only they know the kind of sacrifice and kind of life which is being endured by people in uniform, they would not then grimace about it. In abroad, in US and other countries, Europe, the kind of respect and reverence which they give to defense personnel, that is very scant in India, I feel. It's
Absolutely.
only, soldiers are only remembered on national, on 15th August and on 26th January, and thereafter they are forgotten. And another thing which is the saddest is in corporate, people don't recognize our skills. I think they have to be sensitized about it. What is your take? See, these leadership values, I think it is gold.
Yeah.
It's gold, and if every corporate has it, imagine where would it catapult it to.
So I will say, you've given a very powerful question here to me. Let me try to think what's the best means to answer it. Um, there are always, those people. So, you know, if you look at our body, we've got a skeleton system. Whatever amount of mass we may put around it, I may be lean, I may be obese, I may be, in whatever form I am in, but that skeleton system carries me, right? If the skeletal system does not function, then there is no body. You are nothing but an amoeba. There are some people on whose back the country rides. We know when we open the newspapers, we see that today corruption and things of this sort are endemic. People are using the name of the country and then doing all sorts of corrupt practices, and they're living their lives by causing harm to others. We have seen this, and I don't have to pick up the examples. There is also something which the corporate is you brought up the corporate is very aware of, is the 80-20 rule, So it's that 20% of the people who do 80% of the work and 80% of the people who do 20% of the work. I'll give you an example of sacrifice. This is for that question which you asked me that, people in the civil sometimes ill-treat the Faujis. My troops, when I was commanding, or the example that I gave you earlier about Kargil, they are from we have a 60-40 rule. So 40% are Indian domicile Gorkhas and 60% are Nepalese domicile Gorkhas. We in our regiment really do not have a concept of India and Nepal. For our soldiers, it is Bharatvarsh. We are all a part of the bigger. So they don't have any kind of question in their mind as to why am I serving India or this thing. Let me give you an example of sacrifice and loyalty. And for our viewers, I would request you to just for a second put yourself in the shoes of the people whose example I'm about to quote. And how would you have reacted? So the year was 2014. My troops had climbed up into the posts, which are the winter cutoff posts. Just to give an understanding what is the winter cutoff post. So there are only about 2 to 3 months in a year where the routes to this is open because they are navigable. Other times of the year, the snowfall makes the slopes very unstable. There are avalanches, continuous avalanches. Even a whisper can lead to an avalanche, or it can lead to a rockfall. So you cannot travel along those lines, and not only because of that reason, but there is so much of debris that there is no movement possible along those routes. So people who climb up in the month of September, they come down only in July the next year. So for that entire period that they are in that post, that small place, and guarding that area. The example which I was quoting earlier. So there was an earthquake, the massive earthquake that took place in Nepal. And many people lost their families. Many in my battalion, they lost their entire families. Their mothers, their fathers, some of them their children, their wives. Imagine thinking that my wife or my child is buried in rubble. But there was nothing that we could do. They had to continue to serve in those posts. For me personally, I did not know what I could do to alleviate the suffering of those people, because I spoke to all of them while they were at the posts through my telephone, and I asked them, if you were in my place, what would you like me to do? How can I help you get back to Nepal? His answer was, you can't do anything, sir. I have to take it on myself. I said, but we also have a task. We've got to guard the border. He said, that I will do. Can you even think that your parents are lying in the rubble and you are continuing to steadfast do your duty on the post? And then there are people who compare these, and then there are people who give statements ki fauji to marne ke liye hi fauji bante hain, right? There are people who they don't respect the faujis because they think that's their job to defend the country. Tell me, how much money will you take to stand at a place and let your family die and not go and help them? How can you quantify that in monetary purposes? Okay, let's spin it around. How much of strength and mental strength do you require, do you think these people would have had to continue to guard the borders of Mother India, Nepalese or not, to guard the borders of Mother India when your own mother is lying in the rubble and you can't go? So there is, in India there used to be a culture in a ancient educational system which is based on Vaad Vivad, which we call debates in English. So if you had to become a scholar, you had to be able to, defeat the other person in debate. So it talked about your convincing capabilities. But it also talks about the character of a person. So for those people who think that some of our civilians do not respect the people and they say ki fauji marne ke liye janam leta hai, or that's his job, I will just say this. So this is something that, it's there in our ancient scriptures. It says that to debate with a scholar or an intelligent person is difficult. To win a debate with an intelligent person is difficult. To win a debate with a stupid person is impossible.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. You said it so well. I think it is understood well. Pankaj, that takes me to my another question. SSC officers, if they join, they fear that once they're conditioned to this kind of environment, would they be accepted in corporate? And what is the kind of intake, and would they be given that required growth, which is what they are aspiring for after literally giving their life to the defense, and when they were very young, and now they come to a stage where they are in that predicament. Now, will I be treated well in corporate? Will I be remunerated well? These are the fear they have. And they have been caught very young, Pankaj. They were just 21, 22 when they joined the defense. They have no idea what is corporate. Can you tell us a little about that how does corporate treat defense people, and according to a young defense person?
So by SSC officers you mean short service commission?
Yes.
It's those officers who join through, in army they'll join out of OTA, Officer Training Academy, and they serve for about 5 years, and after 5 years they've got an extension of 2 more years, then they've got another extension of 2 more years, and after that the call for permanent, whether they would like to choose becoming a permanent officer or they choose to move out. That's how I think
now it's slightly changed. Now it's 10 plus 4.
Oh, it's now 10
yes,
plus
10.
4.
Earlier it was that. This is, and depending on vacancies and merit and the policy at that time, they are given permanent commission.
Absolutely.
But of course, not all are given. So I would want you to address those who do not get it.
So firstly, let me put it in this manner, that the officers who come out of the army are, as I had already spoken earlier, they are multifaceted. They have got expertise in many, many domains. It's not just the mission that they're leading, but they also take care of, the human resources, the salaries, pays, increments, etc. of the men. They take care of the training, so they can also function as training gurus because they need to impart those training, having trained themselves. They understand concepts like train the trainer, and then how to impart the training, making block syllabuses, ensuring that, what is the assimilation percentiles. We also have a systems approach to training, which is, although not very modern, but it's a very scientific means, which I have seen that it's still lacking in some certain corporates. They still need to imbibe this kind of systems approach to training. Then we have, they are adept at logistics because they understand just-in-time concepts. War entirety is a just-in-time concept, right? You need the things to reach just in time so as to able to apply your combat part to the combat potential where it is required at the point of application. So that is, they are very good at logistics. They are good at inventory management because all of them handle several inventories of different types, right from clothing to equipment to storage to ammunition, explosives. And explosives, and ammunition is very, very tricky because, everything has to have different storage conditions. It's a completely different science in itself. Compared to a normal inventory that is maintained, which is not composed of dangerous or restricted goods. Then you have the ability to, they are good at public speaking, oratory skills. They are a leader because they're chosen as a leader, right? So if you see any military officer who's taken has got multiple domains in which he can expertise. But the structure of a corporate is onto specialization. Now, one of the biggest wrongs that I see that is being done in the corporate is they give too little to a Fauji chap. They put him at a position where he just has to do one job, whereas this guy is capable of handling multiple things together. There is that doha na, jahan kaam kare sui kahan kare talwar hi. So where you apply where a needle works, a sword doesn't work. So for a corporate, it is important to understand how best to leverage the capability of a officer who has come out of after short service into the civil arena. Actually, these guys are very young. They're extremely well informed. They have had amazing exposure. Their life skills are amongst the best that you can ever get from anywhere. Their leadership potential it need not be tested. It's like combat proven, right? So the corporates do not understand this multifacetedness. And then they apply a person to a very minuscule role. So when you apply, it's like you're wasting an entire resource, right? So a Fauji is actually good for a role where he can handle multiple things together. This clarity has not gone into into the corporate. Some corporates have understood the clarity, and some corporates are yet to reach there. Even amongst the big four, there is a lot of they have not understood that how best to leverage. They put people into very, very segmented, small roles, and therefore the growth is not optimal because, of course, you have, if you put a banyan tree into a flower pot, how will it grow, So, this is something that the corporates need to understand. Yes, the corporates are taking a call. You use the word, how do corporates treat? So, corporates treat an individual as per his productivity. But where they are going wrong is that they need to give the correct environment for him to show how good he is or he or she is to, reach their productivity levels. So they need to pitch that person at the right level. As of now, the pitching done by the corporates is not at the right level. They are several rungs lower. These people are valuable. So because the corporates are taking that call, I will also say that understand one more capability or superpower, the corporate word that a Fauji has, is his capability to adapt and his capability to assimilate something and grasp something fast. They were chosen as young children because of this. That's how they went to the academies. So the rate of their learning, the learning curve, is going to be much faster than anybody else. So the corporates could think of a probationary time where these officers could be exposed to several things, and then the capability could be assessed, and then they could put that way. The corporates would really leverage that resource to its optimal potential rather than just take somebody and put them into a specialized role, a very small role. I came after commanding my battalion of more than 1,000 plus people. I was a Colonel GS in a strike corps where, it's like at least more than 50,000 people. And I am leading here 5 or 6 directs. And the corporate is telling me how to be a leader.
Very funny. Actually, it is a paradox. Last question, Pankaj, but a very important question.
Yeah,
I
sure.
want to clear a lot of myth which is associated to it. People in corporate and outside think that defense people are entitled a lot. Can you help us understand this?
So this is exactly when I was talking about how much will you take to stand on guard when your family is dying down back there. How much money? Who's an entitled lot? Right? That person who is living in a 5 feet by 5 feet post or 10 feet by 5 feet post for 2 years, guarding the border, washing himself with kerosene, unable to take bath for 6-7 months, and having a short leave to go and visit this family for some time and come and stay. Are they the entitled lot, or are the people who are staying here, who have all the time have got problems with everything and everybody? Are they the entitled lot? Who's the entitled lot? How much money will you take to live a life of a Fauji where you can never say no? If an order is given, you have got to do it to the peril of your life. How much money is enough? How much entitlement is enough? Who's entitled? I find this question absolutely, not because I'm a Fauji, but today, over the last 4 years, I've been in the civil arena. I have before also. It's not that because I was a Fauji, I was totally insulated from the civil domain. All my relatives, everybody is in the army. Is in the civil domain. I keep interacting with them. When I came out of the army, I was a leader in the corporate. I saw the people and how much, for a certain thing, how much are they paid? The corporate pays you almost at least more than twice what a much higher level person in the defense gets paid. It's not about pay. That's why I said army is a service. You cannot quantify it. How much are you doing? Like, for example, if a doctor is able to save a life, how much money will you give that doctor? Can you quantify your life to what the doctor has done? So that is why it's called a service, because there is no value that you can give to a person who's serving the country to the peril of his life. There is no value that you can attach with it.
It's priceless.
It's priceless.
And no amount of entitlement is enough. When they say, oh, you get clubs, you get a pension, and it is my taxes which are going into paying all of this. So they think that we should cringe. Whereas if we start explaining what we lived and endured.
So what I need to tell everybody is that if you are seeing a Fauji, that means he's here for rest and recoup. Right? He's here for rest and recoup. That's why you're seeing a Fauji. If you see him working in a club, because he's there only for 2 years. After that, 3 साल वो वापस चला जाएगा border में. There they don't have clubs. You don't have a bathroom. You don't have electricity.
No, they think after retirement. Their concern is after retirement, your entitlement, and it hurts them that it's my taxpayers' money which is going.
It's sad that we have got to debate on the subject, really, because I leave it to the capabilities of our audience to understand what is entitlement and what is not. I'll leave it over there, because I don't want to reduce myself to be answering this question, really.
We are privileged to have a veteran who has neutralized militants. How did it feel? Though I said that was the last question, did it make you brute? I find you absolutely very human. But, out of curiosity, people would be thinking that those who kill a person with flesh and blood, thereafter they become cold and brute. How was that emotion? We will take this last question and wind up, because I really want the audience to know that we have a very distinguished person as a guest. I have this privilege of interviewing you, and I just want you to bring that emotion here.
Thank you so much for these kind words, Julie. Nobody wants to kill another human being. That's not anything that's supposed to be done. But unfortunately, the job that we have is that sometimes we need to kill a person. I will just tell a few things, maybe because this is a very vast subject on its own, Julie. Maybe another podcast some other time. But let me just give you a glimpse into what it is. Pardon me, sometimes I look down, because when I look down means I'm in contemplation.
Absolutely.
I'm just trying to relive those moments. When I neutralized a terrorist, immediately there is a lot of, thing that I have succeeded in a mission, because my mission would have been to eliminate that terrorist. I gun a person down, or kill him or whatever, and that person dies. There's a lot of bad patting, because you have succeeded in that mission that you are doing. So there's a lot of elation that I have done this. But during the mission, you would have gone through a lot of levels of heightened stress. So your adrenaline is continuously pumping your body up, and you're continuously into that. This kind of a thing could range from weeks to even months. Once that mission is over, after a few days, there is the adrenaline withdraws from you. So there is a depression that, I did kill a human being who would have been the son of somebody, a brother of someone, or a husband of some lady. Somebody's become a widow. So that realization that comes in, I think it's the people in the uniform are the ones who give maximum respect to life. We know what life is, because we value life immensely, and also because we live as a family with our comrades in arms. We know when a loss of life, how badly it affects everybody. We live through that. And so taking a life is also, as I said, initial elation, but after that there's no great joy into it. One of the terrorists that we had eliminated in one of the missions I'd done, a few days back, he had, killed one of my source's wives. I don't want to go into, but just to give a thing, so the wife of that source was pregnant, so they had carved the baby out, and they had cut her up into small pieces, and they had lined the entire streets with their intestines and their entrails, and then made them suffer and die. So the person that I killed, that my team killed, was one such person. So we do have a coping mechanisms where we say that the person that we eliminated is a bad person, but still you do go through a withdrawal symptom after you kill a person. It's not a good feeling. We don't like to take lives. That is why I think the government gives us the license to kill, because we don't like to take lives. And unfortunately that's the job that we do. We don't hate Pakistanis soldiers. I've interacted with Pakistani soldiers when in the UN also. They're just like you and me. They are doing their job. People think, we follow the Hindi movies and said ki every Pakistani is a bad guy. No, it's not like that. Even on the soldier, Pakistani or Chinese, we are human beings. All of us are doing our jobs. But we are under orders. I need to safeguard the borders of my country. I need to safeguard the sovereignty of my country, and he needs to do the same. He or she. I'm not being sexist when I use the word he. I mean, because we have men and women both serving the country. We act as professionals. It's one of the armed forces. The job as a soldier is amongst the most professional jobs. We have a very loose idea of what a profession is. I would suggest people to read a book called Soldier and the State by Stephen Philip Cohen, where he outlines what is a professional and how a soldier is more a professional than anybody else. Not to reduce the others, but how a soldier is amongst the most highest professionals. So we live with our passions, we live with our emotions, we plan with our brains, and we act with conscience and with responsibility.
Thank you so much for this encouragement. Thank you for sharing these values and lessons with us. I'm sure those who are watching are hugely inspired. And once again, thank you for your service to the nation, Pankaj.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you for your service to our nation.
Thank you,
and
Pankaj.
namaskar to the
Jai
Jai Hind.